Welcome back, Giants fans. We have the Giants week number 5 preview here against the Dallas Cowboys. The Giants go on the road at Dallas Sunday at 4:25. I think the game is probably a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman game as usual. So we'll go over some of the key injuries here. I'll first off say the Cowboys are favored by 7 points. Don't like to see that. But in fairness, the Giants were 7-point underdogs last week to the Saints. So anything can happen, of course. So the key injuries here, the Giants do have, I would say, 3-4 pretty key injuries here. So it was announced that Jabril Peppers, the safety, is out. Same thing for Sterling Shepard. He's out. Darius Slayton's out. And as for Andrew Thomas, he has a foot injury. Not sure what the severity is, but some of the beat writers sound concerned and said he looks pretty hobbled at practice. So I don't know. I really hope Andrew Thomas plays, because if not, this could be a rough game, because you don't want Nate Solder going to left tackle and have Matt Parrott come in, who hasn't played in a few weeks now. So that would not be good against a deep. Well, it's not like Dallas's defense is that great, but this is just not the game where I feel like we can lose Andrew Thomas here. So that would definitely be a big loss, and hopefully he finds a way to play and not be like a liability out there due to his injury, because Andrew Thomas has gotten off to such a great start. It would be a shame if his season kind of got derailed by injuries once again here. So the Cowboys team ranks. Their offense is second in rushing yards per game. They have had such a deadly duo with two running backs there, with, of course, Ezekiel Elliott, who we all know, and Tony Pollard, who was like a fourth-round pick a couple years ago out of Memphis, I believe. He's been unbelievable for them. A good receiving back as well. Their offense is 14th in yards per game passing, so they haven't had to pass the ball as much in recent weeks. They've been ahead in recent in games like the Philadelphia Eagles game. They were in control of that one mostly. They were in control for most of the Carolina game. I think Dak Prescott only had 130, 140 passing yards last week, so he was not asked to do much, but he did throw 5 touchdowns, so it was a good, fantasy football day for Dak Prescott, but he didn't have to pass for a lot of yards in that game. The Cowboys defense, they're 31st in passing yards per game. I feel like that number may be inflated because of the teams playing catch up most of the game, because Dallas has had the lead for a lot of these games once again. So I feel like some of this is garbage time. We definitely saw Sam Darnold take advantage of that, even Jalen Hurts the week prior. So some of that's garbage time, but the Cowboys secondary has been much better than expected so far, I will say that. And their defense is 6th in rushing yards per game allowed. So the Cowboys defense was one of the worst rushing defenses in football last year. So far, they've gotten off to a much better start. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with drafting Micah Parsons in the first round. He's been such a big help to that team. So I'm sure a guy like that is helping change that defense. And even adding Osa Odighizuwa. Is it Owa? Owa. We had Osa. No, who do we had Owa. They have Osa. I forget the names. It's very close. But yeah, the Giants once had an Odighizuwa back in like 2014, 2015. He kind of retired early. But the Cowboys drafted his brother recently, who I believe is Osa. And he's been off to a good start so far. I liked him coming out of UCLA, a bit undersized, but so far has been really good in the NFL his first 4 weeks. So yeah, they have definitely made improvements to that run defense. And let's get down to some of the key matchups and notes for this game. So Trayvon Diggs versus Kenny Galladay. So of course Trayvon Diggs is maybe the leader for Defensive Player of the Year so far. I know we're only 4 games in, but I think he has 5 interceptions. He has an interception in every game. Had 2 last week, I believe, against Sam Darnold. He's been off to a great start. He was a second-round pick last year, another guy that I liked, and I was kind of hoping like maybe we would take him, but I guess we kind of sorted that out by taking James Bradbury in free agency and then getting Adoree Jackson as well. But Trayvon Diggs is off to such a tremendous start for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, him guarding Kenny Galladay is not what you want to see, and he's been kind of shadowing these number 1 wide receivers recently, so I do feel like he'll follow Kenny Galladay around for most of this game when they're in man coverage. So that's going to be an issue, of course. Kenny Galladay is going to have a pretty decent game, I would assume. It's a high point total. I think this might be like the second or third highest point total this week around the NFL. Of course, the Bills and Chiefs game is probably number 1, but this is one of the highest scoring games according to Vegas this week. So I'm sure Kenny Galladay will have his catches. He might be like a 5 for 50-something yards type of game. It won't be nothing, but just kind of temper your expectations, because if Trayvon Diggs does in fact follow him the entire game, it's not the best matchup for a wide receiver these days. Cedric Wilson versus Julian Love or Darnay Holmes. So we definitely lucked out because the Cowboys are still missing their wide receiver 3, Michael Gallup, very talented wide receiver. And mostly they had CeeDee Lamb in the slot. I just looked, CeeDee Lamb is playing a lot more outside now. They sometimes play him in the slot. They play Amari Cooper sometimes in the slot. But majority of the time, it's a guy named Cedric Wilson now. And Cedric Wilson, I didn't know much about him before this year. I've seen him make some plays for the Cowboys so far. He's pretty shifty when he gets the ball in his hands, so not the type of guy that, I'm definitely not taking that lightly. He had a very nice spin move last week on Jeremy Chin, the Panthers safety. He made some very nice plays with the ball in his hands. So he's not at Michael Gallup's level, thank God, but he's still somebody who's not a scrub, so the Giants have to watch out for that. And, we know the Giants didn't really play Darnay Holmes last week. I think Holmes played maybe 4% of snaps last week and 1% the week prior, so they don't want to play him. But based on the injuries now, Jabril Peppers was even playing some slot corner for us. He's out, so they don't have him. Of course, Aaron Robinson's he's been out. He's still on the IR probably, the third round pick we had this year. And obviously you have Bradbury and Adoree Jackson as outside guys. Who's the slot corner going to be? It might be Julian Love. He played 20-something, 30-something snaps there last week. So it's possible Julian Love's that guy, but it could be Darnay Holmes as well. So I liked Darnay Holmes as a prospect. I admitted that in the past many times. He has not been off to a good start so far. Kind of fell out of the rotation here for the Giants defense. And as for Julian Love, I like him as well, but I like him more on the outside. I don't really think Julian Love is a slot corner type of guy. I don't think he has the speed to be a great one. So that's a concerning matchup. Now, big game needed for the Giants cornerback 1 and cornerback 2. I just talked about James Bradbury, Adoree Jackson. They're going to go up against some tough competition here, very tough competition in Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, some of the best wide receivers in football. We pay those guys a lot of money. I think Adoree Jackson was 3 years, $39 million, and I think Bradbury was 3 years, $45 million. The Giants pay those guys handsomely, and this is a game where they definitely need them. So those guys have to step up and put up good performances in a game like this at Dallas. The Giants' run defense needs to be a lot better. So far, they're probably bottom 10 in the NFL so far, and rushing yards allowed per game. Now, part of that is because the Giants are 1-3, and usually teams are in kind of neutral game scripts and are able to run the ball. They're not, passing the ball from behind. And we saw Alvin Kamara have 25 rush attempts last week even. But part of it is because the Giants' run defense has just not been that good in general. I think they're allowing over 4.5 yards per carry so far, maybe more now. It's not off to a good start. The Giants' run defense, they have names of guys on that defensive line that should be able to get the job done. Of course, they signed Leonard Williams. They have Dexter Lawrence, a 17th overall pick. They have, Danny Shelton, who's been known as a run stopper his entire career. Austin Johnson's okay. They have guys there. Of course, not having Blake Martinez at linebacker is going to hurt in that regard. But even Tay Crowder played well last week. I thought Reggie Ragland had a good game last week. The Giants have names to stop the run, and so far they have not been doing that. So their run defense, once again, against a Cowboys rushing attack with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard has to be much better because you got to make the Cowboys offense one-dimensional. That's a very big part of this game. If you allow Dak Prescott to get the play action going and give him all the time in the world to throw, it's probably not going to go well. So the Giants have to either take out the pass or take out the run. Something's going to have to happen, or you cannot allow Dallas to be killing you in both aspects, run and pass. You cannot have that if you're the Giants defense this week. Cover Dalton Schultz. I watch Cowboys games pretty often because they're mostly on prime time, and a lot of time they're on red zone because they have a good offense. But anyway, I feel like every time I watch the Cowboys play, Dalton Schultz, who is one of their tight ends, they have Blake Jarwin as well, but Dalton Schultz has scored a bunch of touchdowns so far this year. Feels like nobody covers that guy. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's because there's a lot of other weapons on that team. Dalton Schultz is the last guy you think about on a team that has CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, and you're like, who the hell is Dalton Schultz? But Dalton Schultz is just left so wide open, especially in the red zone. The Giants have to cover him, and we have not been that good against tight ends, of course, in recent years, so it would not surprise me in the least that if the Giants left Dalton Schultz wide open, he might score a pretty long touchdown in this game. So hopefully they have a game plan that's kind of more focused on Dalton Schultz. Of course, it's hard because, as I mentioned, there's a lot of good weapons on this team, and I forgot Dak Prescott as well. He's not a weapon, Dak Prescott, but I guess he could run the ball. Not as much as he used to coming off the injury, but Dak, of course, is a rushing threat near the goal line. But still, covering Dalton Schultz, the Giants can't take that one lightly once again. Micah Parsons versus Soler or Peart. So yeah, that's a problem for me here. So of course Andrew Thomas is on the injury report. We don't know how severe it is, and we'll see if he plays. I think he might play. I'm not sure. I hope he does. It's definitely going to be a huge loss if they don't have him. But there's a situation here brewing where, Micah Parsons, when the Cowboys are, in that nickel defense or bringing extra corners on the field, a lot of times Micah Parsons goes from that linebacker position. They put him on the defensive line, and he goes against right tackles a lot. And we've seen that. And Micah Parsons, although he's listed as a linebacker, is a legit pass rusher. That's one of the reasons I was such a big Micah Parsons fan. And honestly, actually. If the Giants had stayed at number 11, I was, in favor of taking Micah Parsons. Of course, we traded back. It's a moot point. But Micah Parsons was so appealing to me because of, his versatility. He was able to be a great pass rusher when he needed to be. And Dallas, to their credit, is using him as a pass rusher in certain situations. So if we have Nate Solder or even Matt Parrott, because Nate Solder, in the event that Andrew Thomas is out, probably goes to left tackle, then Matt Parrott, who hasn't played in a couple weeks, comes in at right tackle, it's going to be a lot of Micah Parsons versus Solder or Parrott, and I just don't like those matchups very much. So the Giants have to be very aware of that and maybe have some help with Kyle Rudolph, who's been very good at chipping edge rushers so far this year. Saquon Barkley, to his credit, has been much better in pass protection this year, so even that will help the Giants defense or the Giants offensive line. So there's going to be ways to try and mitigate Micah Parsons. Even Randy Gregory, another defensive lineman, had 2 sacks for them last week. They don't have DeMarcus Lawrence, the Cowboys. That's one of the biggest losses for this defense. He might be their best player on defense. He's out. I think he broke his foot, so he's out for probably a few more weeks here, but not having him is definitely a big help for this guy, for the Giants in this game. The Giants' pass rush could definitely be an issue here. So outside of Tyler Biadasz, who is the second-year center for the Cowboys, their offensive line's playing tremendous. They're once again, I know Lael Collins has been suspended here, but they're still finding a way. The right tackle, I forget his name. It's something Steele, Steele, Steele. Yeah, I forget his first name, but the right tackle replacement's been playing well. Tyrone Smith is having so far his best season in since 2015 or something. He's off to a great start once again. And Zach Martin's back from injury, playing as well as he ever has. He missed week 1 with COVID. He kind of got injured last year at one point, but he's back now playing at a very high level. Connor Williams at left guard also playing well. The Cowboys offensive line is pretty much back to what it was, and they're still missing their right tackle, so it's very scary. And we just don't get pass rush. The Giants don't generate pass rush. They don't even generate that many. Well, they generated some turnovers, but not too many. The Giants just don't get too much pressure on the quarterback. And this has to be a week where they have to get pressure on Dak. You just once again cannot allow him to get comfortable back there and have all these weapons, because once again, we don't have a great slot corner right now. We don't have many coverage linebackers. We're going to have problems there. So, even Logan Ryan sometimes has been kind of disappointing this year. We don't cover very well unless it's James Bradbury or Adoree Jackson. So I have my concerns if Dak Prescott is all day to throw. Obviously, this is a game where, once again, Leonard Williams has to step up. Hopefully, Dexter Lawrence gets some pressures. Of course, Azeez Ojulari, the second-round rookie, has to have another good game here. He didn't have a sack last week. That was the first time he didn't have one, but this would be a nice game to get 1 or 2. Lorenzo Carter has been missing all year. This has to be a game where he steps up, I would think. So the Giants have a need for pass rushers, and this has to be a game where these guys have to step up, because Dallas, once again, their offensive line is playing like a top 5 unit in football. They're probably by far the best run blocking team in football right now. So we have a lot of concerns versus their offensive line. So that's a part about this game that I'm definitely worried about. Get the ball in Kadarius Toney's hands. We saw it last week. I did the film review. We saw some plays where Kadarius Toney just made guys look foolish and were missing tackles completely. Kadarius Toney is such an electric athlete. You have to get the ball in his hands. You really do. I don't care how you do it, whether it's via a handoff in the backfield, whether it's via a screen pass or passing downfield, a slant. I don't care what it is. Get the ball in Toney's hands. Let him work after the catch and get some easy yards for you. That's pretty much the way the Giants have to attack this team, because once again, Kenny Galladay, while I hope he has a big game, I'm not expecting it because it's a tough cornerback 1 matchup with Trayvon Diggs. So Kadarius Toney, or even dare I say Evan Engram, has to step up in this game. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a close one, I think. Dallas is favored by 7. I picked the Giants to cover this spread, so I think it's going to be a close game. Maybe like a 35-30 type game. I don't know who's going to win. As I said on the bottom here, the Giants, is their season on the line? I think you can make the argument for sure. The Giants are 1-3. Dallas is 3-1. So if Dallas won this game, they're 4-1. We're 1-4. They hold a tiebreaker so far, and we'd be 0-2 in the division so far. I know it's only 2 games out of 6, but being 0-2 in the division is not the start you want. So is the Giants' season over if they lose? Technically, no. I definitely put on Twitter before, I kind of carved out a path where they could lose these next 2 games against the Cowboys and Rams and still get to 9 wins. It's not possible. It's not very likely, but it's possible. So I will say that. But this is a game where I'm looking at it as a must-win, and I think the Giants should as well. They kind of dug themselves in a pretty big hole going 0-3. They could have easily been 2-1. Some maybe even say 3-0. But it is what it is. You are what your record says you are, and so far they're 1-3. And in my opinion, they have to win this game. So I'm very excited though. It's nice to be in October as a Giants fan and have something to look forward to. Yes, we're 1-3, but it's a big in-division game against the first place team. So I know it's like sad to have your expectations that low, but as Giants fans, like our season has been over by September, October for the past 3-4 years. So at least now, like we have something to look forward to here, sitting here on October 8th. So yeah, I guess that's the positive here. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to pick the Giants to win this game. I have no idea. Let's just see how it plays out. I do think it's a possibility, especially if we played the way we did last week. And I'm not going to rant about Jason Garrett, but let me just say this about Jason Garrett. If Jason Garrett goes back to being conservative after the game we just saw last week, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be very just unhappy with the way Jason Garrett calls this game, because if he, I don't know how you go back and watch that film from New Orleans, because like the Giants, here's the thing, the Giants were down 21-10 in New Orleans. There was like 5 or 6 minutes left. Then they started to push the ball down the field a lot, and it actually worked. And I don't know if it's like, I don't know why Jason Garrett won't let Daniel Jones cook, as they like to say, or let Danny dime. Like, let him, this is how you have to find out who Daniel Jones is. Let him push the ball down the field. I'm tired of the conservative 2-yard, 5-yard dump-off passes. Like, the pass to John Ross, the 60-yard post route, that was a great play. Throwing those deep crossers to Kenny Galladay, big plays. Like, that's what this offense needs. The Saquon Barkley down the left sideline for 60 yards and a touchdown. This offense needs that. Jason Garrett can't go back to the dump-off passes and the curl routes, and we can't have that. What I'm saying is Jason Garrett has to be more aggressive in this game, and I think we have a chance to win. The Giants have to put up points in this game. The Giants are not going to win this game 10-7. The Giants got to put up around 30 points on offense, and I do think last year in this matchup, actually, the Giants put up 34 in this game, and I think that was the only game last year where they put over 30 points on the board under Jason Garrett. They lost 37-34, I think, on a Greg Zuerlein game-winning field goal for Dallas, but this is a game where the Giants offense has to put up, I would say, near 30, whether it's 27, 28, 30 plus, I don't know. They have to put up points in this game. So if Jason Garrett continues the conservative approach here and they just run the ball with Saquon, and once again, the Cowboys defense, run defense, has been great so far, 6th in the NFL, and they've added guys on that defense, so it makes sense. If you just run the ball with Saquon up the middle and he has like a 15 for 30 type game and doesn't break off the big run, you're going to put a lot on Daniel Jones's plate, but at least go down the field. Like, I just don't want to see these short passes over and over again. Like, they have to push the ball downfield, and we finally saw it in the fourth quarter and in overtime in New Orleans, and the Giants offense looked the best it probably has under Jason Garrett in a year and a half. So, like, Jason Garrett, please, I know you're not watching, but please, just like push the ball down the field, my guy, please. Like, it's a revenge game for you. Go ahead and beat your former team. Like, I'm sure you want to win as much as anybody. So please, push the ball down the field and be aggressive, and let Daniel Jones be the quarterback that we want him to be. That's all I have to say about that. So hopefully I don't have to, be pissed off about that after the game, but we'll find out. I don't trust Jason Garrett, but at least we saw some of it last week, even though their backs were against the wall, down 21-10 once again. So anyway, that will do it for this video. Got to win this game. I know 2-3 isn't the best record, but it's a hell of a lot better than 1-4. So they got to get this win. Hopefully they find a way. Offense has to click. Got to make the Dallas offense one-dimensional, and it's possible. Anything can happen any given Sunday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys next time.